What's up, y'all? This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesday. It's here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. If you could hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button as well, so you can stay up to date with all of my Teachable Tuesdays content. I'd like to welcome you to our finale of the Teachable Tuesdays discussion, our series, which is called Live Your Best Life, or Living Your Best Life, however I titled it. And this is going to actually be a very short video because it's going to be a subject that I've talked about time and time again on the channel with playing my videos. But I'm going to tie this into how it's important to do this while living your best life, and how doing this will result in you ultimately living one of the best lives that you possibly can. And the title of this video is going to be Living Your Best Life, when to keep people and when to let people go. Now, you know the old cliche, there's a time, place, and a season for everything. Some people are here for a season, some people are here for a reason, and some people are here for a lifetime. I'm actually going to rephrase that. Some people are here for a season. Everybody at one point in time is here for a reason, and some people are here simply for a lifetime. And what do I mean by that? Everybody that's in your life is not necessarily going to stay. People come and people go. We meet so many individuals that have some form of an impact on our lives, regardless if it's positive or negative. Co-workers, cohorts, or people within your cohort, like if you go to school and stuff like that. Relationships, platonic, of course, with your friends, romantic, girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff like that. And you got to realize, the thing about these relationships is they're not always meant to last. And you got to know which ones to keep and which ones to let go of. And I want to put something out there. Just because you have to let go of a specific relationship, romantic, platonic, whatever the case may be, doesn't necessarily mean that it ends on bad terms. It could simply be just a simple fact that you may be going to a destination, they may be going to a different destination, and it's just one of those things where, some people just can't go, you know what I mean? And then you have some people that no matter where you go, they just stick with you for life because that's just kind of who they are. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, my fresh brothers, these are my legit brothers for life. You know what I'm saying? They're not just my best friends. They are men that hold me accountable. They are men that look out for me just as the same way that I look out for them. They are men that I consider family. And I can say they are men that will be in my life until the day that I die, till the day that they die, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Those are the type of relationships that I will hold on to for a lifetime, no matter what happens. I've had other friends where, I had to let them go at some point because not necessarily anything that they did wrong, but just for the simple fact that it just was what it was, and it was time to just go on. And that doesn't mean I'm not cool with these guys or cordial. I see them on social media. I say what's up. I speak. We have conversations and all that good stuff. But it's just a simple fact that, we just are two different lanes, two different destinations, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Same thing with romantic relationships. A lot of my exes, nothing personal against them, but things just ended up not working out, and they've moved on. I've moved on. Some of them are in relationships. Some of them are even married now, but it's one of those things where, we just learned to grow when it was time to go. And I think that's a part of living your best life. Like I said, knowing who to keep around you and knowing who to let go and when to let go of them. And the reason why I say that ties into living your best life is because you don't want to keep the wrong people in your life. When I say the wrong people, I don't necessarily mean that they're bad for you. It's just that keeping them around will not benefit you, nor will it benefit them. I always try to look inward from an introspective individual. And when people don't benefit my life, I don't keep them around. But in addition to that, if I don't benefit their lives, I remove myself from the picture. Because the one thing I don't want to ever do, I don't want anyone to ever hinder me from being the best Marcus I can be. And I don't want to hinder anyone else from being the best them that they could be. Now, you might question yourself, how do you know if you're being a hindrance to that individual or somebody's hindering you? Well, I think there are a couple of ways that you can go about this. Number one, you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. And just because it's not bearing any fruit in your life doesn't necessarily mean that it's not bearing fruit in general. But if it's not bearing fruit in your life, if you don't see any positive outcomes because of this, if you're noticing that one person is giving more than the other, and you're taking more or they're taking more, and it's not a balanced type of relationship, maybe that's a sign that you're holding them back or they're holding you back. You know what I'm saying? And I think some ways you can keep people in your life is, again, go back to what I said before, a tree by the fruit that it bears. Understanding that, okay, this individual really is mindful of how I do things. They care about me. They show that they care, so on and so forth. It's just so many different things that go involved with that. But, living your best life is ultimately being the best that you can be. And you got to have the right people in your corner in order to achieve that. One thing I want to make perfectly clear, and I've said this time and time again, and especially for my men, and I will continue to say this, nobody is meant to walk in this life alone, okay? This was not a life that was designed for us to walk by ourselves. I'm a firm believer that God created us to have fellowship with other individuals and really be able to unify with different people, you know what I'm saying? And not just unify, but also be amongst others. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, don't forsake the assembling. And from a spiritual purpose, that means, always come together when it's, that time to, fellowship and serve the Lord. But you can also use that in the worldly context as well, basically saying that, you should always come together amongst other people, the right people, of course. And I mean, it's even another verse in the Bible. And I'm not trying to get too biblical, but as I'm saying this, it kind of just all ties together. God said man should not be alone. And I know a lot of people, when you think about that context, they're going to automatically assume the context of, oh, well, that's why you should have a man. That's why you should have a woman. I mean, that's part true. But the other part of it is just as human beings, we crave, there's a reason why we crave that vital connection of being with one another. Having romantic relationships, having platonic relationships, having relationships with your business partners and family members, because ultimately, no matter how much of an introvert or extrovert you are, you always want that connection. You know what I'm saying? And living your best life is knowing which connections to keep at what times and which connections do you have to kind of break off so that way you can grow in your direction and they can grow in theirs. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be selfish. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we do have to realize that we are the ones that are holding people back from being their best, and you got to let them be their best. All right? So I think that's why it's important to, in terms of living your best life, making sure that you understand which connections to keep and which connections to let go, and exactly how to go about doing this, which I'll probably get into a later video or a later date as far as a little bit more detail, because if I want to get more detail, this video will be well over 10, 15, 20 minutes, and I ain't trying to go that far. This is the end of a series, so I'm not trying to be too long with it. But that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate your input. And it's just been a great series, living your best life. What's that song called? I forgot who the artist is, but living my best life. I ain't going back to none of you. I almost forgot the lyrics. But anyways, this is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. There will be no more series, just to give you a heads up, for, I want to say, the next couple of months. The series will be returning, like different types of series will be returning sometime spring 2023. But for right now, as always, if you have any topics that you would like for me to talk about, feel free to drop a comment below or hit me up on my Instagram, ACTRealMC, and we can discuss it and kind of go from there. But in the meantime, I'm still going to be dropping videos for the rest of the month. I know I'm kind of behind. I'm supposed to be dropping a video every day. I'm going to get back on track for sure. Make sure you be on the lookout for my end of the year recap. I'm going to be doing a part 1 next Tuesday, and then that following Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a part 2. All right. So part 1, 2022 recap will be next Tuesday. Part 2 will be the week after next, because of course I always have so much to talk about. I can't fit it in one video. And be on the lookout for my Teachable Tuesday reels and also shorts. Love y'all. See you soon.